Hey man, long time no see. My name's Anthony, if you haven't forgotten already. So about 2 weeks ago, me and my partner booked a 10-day trip to a place called Exmouth. This is north of Perth, about 13 hours drive without stopping. And around that time, I just finished a book called 4-Hour Workweek. This is a book by Tim Ferriss. At the very end, it stated something like, rehearse poverty regularly, restrict even moderate expenses for 1 to 2 weeks. So you can think big and take risks without fear. Imagine coming across this idea in a Tim Ferriss book and then booking a $4,000 trip in one hit. That's like a no-brainer. I'm about to go into why I started adopting this inside of my life and the habit that I had to cut, one that was going to keep me on the path to staying average. Anyways, let's get straight into this. About over 2 weeks ago in the same book, I came across an activity and it was for me to write down my 6-month goal. One of them was to go swim with a whale shark. Sounds kind of crazy, but it's something that I've been always wanting to do for quite some time. The next step was to book the tour, secure the camper van, secure the campsite, and then making sure that I could take off work for that time. And all of this was done within 2 to 3 days. But I must confess, none of this was organized by me. It was all done by Jessica. And the entire trip itself was booked by her. The only thing that I did was I initiated this. And wouldn't you agree, the hardest part is starting, right? So everything was booked, we were excited. About a week after that, the trip was about to start. We still had a few things to plan, like the activities, the food that we were going to eat, the food that we were going to cook, because we were about to apply this thing where we would stop spending even on average expenses. On average, we would spend about $50 to $100 every single week on eating out. It might be 2 times, it might be 3 times, depending on how stressed we were throughout the week. And the more stressed we were, of course, the more we're gonna eat out. The idea behind cutting moderate expenses was to create the right environment to take action, to take risks. This is one of the things that I did about 4 years ago. Living at home with my parents, I was just way too comfortable. I wanted to get out of my comfort, to get uncomfortable, so that I would have that drive, that hunger to survive, to do more. And if you have immigrant parents like me, you would know that they struggled. They came from a place of nothing and then having to build up that something. Mum would always talk about how she went from job to job every single day. She had about 3 jobs. She, didn't stop working for a long time. She would work 7 days a week. And that's highly respectable, and I get that they want to give us everything. They want to make our lives as easy as possible, not like how they were struggling. And that's the reason I told my mum why I wanted to move out. I wanted the struggle. I wanted to experience what they had experienced. And it's kind of like a natural human instinct. It's even an animal instinct where we have to hunt every single day in order to get the food onto the table. And one of the biggest downsides to living at home for me personally was that Mum would always want to pay for things and I would just allow her to do so. But I wanted to, be able to look after my own finance, to have that hunger to go out and find work, to work more. Because I found that I wasn't actually working enough. I had a casual job and I would always turn down shifts. And so I just didn't have the drive to want to go to work and I was just working 2 to 3 times a week. Okay, back to the story. As soon as I started implementing this new idea of cutting out costs, not going out to eat, this was a changed perspective for me. I saw eating out as a luxury, something that you could enjoy yourself, but you didn't need this in order to, survive and be happy. And the ultimate reason why I wanted to increase this drive and increase this hunger to succeed and to create these videos like this was because I want to create an impact on others' lives. I've always wanted to share my passions. One of those is doing less for more. A lot of us, we tend to do more. We think we need to do more. We think we need more money, but I'm the complete opposite. And that's because I've always wanted to be different. Maybe you're the same. You've always wanted to, do the opposite of what your siblings do or what your friends do. You've always gone for the opposite team that your friends barrack for. Let me give you a quick example. People work out for 1 hour or 1.5 hours a day. I'd want to work out for 15 minutes and still get a greater result. And if you compare those who try to do more within a short period of time, wanting a greater result, versus someone who can do it consistently, never burning out and getting a great result at the same time, If you weigh it up, it's like, it's a no-brainer, right? And also I think society needs this. I think it's super valuable for a lot of us to make it work with less. You know, let's say you earn $60,000 a year. You could make it work. You don't need to be in debt. You don't need to owe people money. You don't need to, you know, be crying about not receiving enough. So that's just the gist of what gets me excited to wake up every single day. But back to the story, you know, wanting to change this habit, wanting to adopt this, you know, new lifestyle, a new idea, I still had problems that I had to overcome. So I had to find the balance between saving and spending, and then the money that was left over from, you know, not eating out, I would then, you know, want to reinvest that in myself. And one of the most recent things is buying, you know, a new lens for my camera, buying a pro microphone, buying lighting for the camera and videos. And on top of that, more problems arose. Being overly frugal, number one, you know, being super Asian. Number two, saving for the long term, when in turn I could be reinvesting that in myself to save time, make life easier, pursue my passions, and overall be more happy. Plus potentially buying more books to build on my knowledge. Of course, you gotta work this big bad boy up here. You know you're a nerd and you're growing up, you're getting old, when buying a new book on your Kindle app makes you happy, gets you excited. You know, it gets that little boy pointing that way. Number three, losing time. We all know that money can't buy time, right? Money can't buy many things. Things that matter, money can't buy. And then adopting this idea of cutting down even moderate expenses for, you know, at least 1 to 2 weeks. That was something that changed my perspective. But at the same time, it gave me permission to reinvest in myself, to not hold back. Because in this case, I would be losing time if I was to delay purchasing new things that would save me time right now. Save me the stress. Save me... So with these problems of being overly frugal, saving without reinvesting, losing time, I had decisions that I had to make as a grown adult. Number one, spend or save. Finding the balance between those two. And then having more money as I grow older, you know, going from now when I'm 28 to, let's say 60. I have all this money, but I have such little time to pursue my passions. I also have less knowledge and potentially be unhappy versus having less money now, more knowledge, you know, being able to pursue my passions and be way more happy every single day. And that's what I call priceless, things that you cannot put a money value on that. Lastly, number three, being regretful versus being able to, you know, be glad that I had taken action and had made that decision to be more investing in myself. So to summarize, I had problems, and then I had, you know, decisions that I had to make, solutions that I had to find. And number three, the decisions that I did make was I had to ask my partner Jessica to commit to not eating out for, you know, 1 to 2 weeks right before our trip. And of course we had the difficult decision of planning the meal list, the grocery list that we needed to buy beforehand, the meals that we were going to cook, so that we could keep this to under $10 every single day per person versus, you know, going out to spend 20 bucks on just one meal. And of course, with the freedom and the permission that I gave myself from, you know, holding back on moderate expenses, I was able to purchase a new lens, lighting for my camera and videos. And of course, that makes me nice and happy. These are the tools that make these videos watchable. Of course, if you're watching this right now, I'd like to think that you like these videos. To add on top of that, I see these investments as saving me time, saving me stress, making my life easier, being more efficient. So if you think about this idea this way, if you're spending $50 to $100 every single week, in a year's time, that's 52 weeks. You'll save about, you know, $2,600 to $5,200 a year. You could use that money to spend on, you know, a laptop. You could spend it on courses to, you know, build your knowledge. You could, you know, build your own gym in the back. And all these things could save you time, or you could do the opposite. It could steal time away from you. And I say this because I've made changes in my life, like getting a home gym, getting a barbell, getting weights, saving me time from going to the gym, you know, maybe 3 times a week. That's travel time saved. And then with that time saved, think about what you could be spending that on. You could then spend that on making food to be more nutritious. But here's the biggest thing that allowed me to make this idea possible, to cut expenses, was to get commitment and support from my partner, Jessica, the person that I spend most of my time with, the person that I cook with, eat with. You can then imagine if she did not support this and if she did not commit to this, potentially we would be eating out much more than we would like. And now it's just a process of strengthening this habit to, cut down costs, to, create that drive, to create that hunger for more. So with this changed perspective of eating out is a luxury, something that I can live without, given that I find the balance between life and work and maintain my stress levels, I want to be able to continue giving myself permission and the freedom to use these funds that I have saved up to reinvest in myself now. And ultimately, the reason for me sharing this idea and story, I want to inspire others to reinvest in themselves, to put themselves first, to build things that actually last, to do less for more. Because I know a lot of people out there who can live happier lives, who are struggling to find balance inside of their own lives. And so you might find this relatable. I know some of you out there will. The feelings that I constantly struggle with is feeling lost. Like, what am I doing? Am I saving too much? Am I saving enough? Am I going to have enough funds in the long term? Am I doing too much, being too stressed? Or maybe I'm doing too little. What videos should I make? How many videos a week should I be posting? These are the constant struggles that I deal with every single week. Maybe you're, experiencing the same thing. The most difficult one is figuring out what video I want to do next. Maybe Hopefully after all this talking that I'm doing, you have a question that you want to ask me, or maybe an idea that I could, potentially be the next video topic. Most of the time I like to do it myself, but sometimes I need help. When your throat's dry, that's when you know this is time to end this video. I'm gonna leave you with less equals more. You don't need more money, you don't need, another job, you don't need a side hustle. Just make it work with what you have right now. This is just my 2 cents. This is what I believe. We should follow our passions. We should bring our ideas to life. We should just put it out there. Perhaps you want to try this out. You want to get uncomfortable by, cutting down moderate expenses. You want to stop eating out for 1 to 2 weeks and just, allowing yourself to try new recipes at home. Trying things like, 1-pot recipes. Trying things like 10-minute recipes. I mean, I'm a guy and I'm lazy. If you're a guy, we're probably the same. So life's short. Get uncomfortable, get the right environment to take action, to wake up excited every single day, to build on your knowledge, build things that last, build muscle that I don't have. Whatever you want to build, do it daily, improve, and see the massive result over time. That's exactly why I work out every day. If you want to know more about that, leave it in the comments down below. My name's Anthony, appreciate you watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to enjoy your day, find that balance.